Palantir just reported earnings. The stock has been pretty volatile after the announcement here of earnings. At one point, it was down about 12%. Right now, it's down 3%, trading at $17.41. Now, year to date, this stock is up 181% before the 3% dip after hours. And it's up 83.2% over the past year. So this is just under a $40 billion market cap, about a $38 billion market cap. 52-week low on this was down under $6. It was $5.92. 52-week high was $20.24. So let's break down earnings. Let's see what's going on. I'll show you all the different news, the highlights from earnings. I'll give you some commentary. We'll look at valuation. I'll also look at a chart. And I'll tell you if I think Palantir is still a stock to buy now or not at these levels. So Palantir Q2 non-GAAP EPS, 5 cents. That's in line with estimates. Revenue of $533.32 million. That's up 12.8% year over year. And that's also in line with estimates. The commercial revenue was up about 10% year over year at $232 million. And specifically, U.S. commercial revenue was up 20% year over year to $103 million. Government revenue grew 15% year over year to $302 million. If you look just at international government, that revenue grew 31% year over year to $76 million. And the customer count grew 38% year over year and 8% quarter over quarter. U.S. commercial customer count increased 35% year over year from 119 customers in Q2 of 2022 to 161 customers this quarter, Q2 2023. So one of the big reasons the stock's been on fire is really AI. The AI buzz has been around this one, and this is a legitimate artificial intelligence company. So when you think of AIP, this is something that's relatively new for Palantir. We've covered on the channel here before. Activate large language models and other AI in your private network safely and securely. And we talk about Snowflake using NVIDIA's AI as a service. Palantir is doing something similar like this, so you can literally have your data talk to you using generative AI. AIP will allow our customers to leverage the power of existing machine learning technologies alongside large language models directly in our existing platforms. You can see all the features here: AI optimized data foundation, assist, logic panel, safe AI handoff, human in the loop, digital footprint, and so on. So GAAP net income, $28 million. Now this is the third consecutive quarter of GAAP profitability. And looking at that $28 million, it's 1 cent per share in net income compared with a net loss of $179 million or 9 cents a share in the year ago quarter. So Palantir met expectations on top and bottom lines, but they also raised revenue guidance to in excess of $2.212 billion. So that's above the midpoint of the forecast from May. Analysts polled had expected $2.209 billion. So this is slightly higher guidance. They also have authorized a stock repurchase program of up to $1 billion of outstanding Class A common stock. And here's the letter to the shareholders. The scale of the opportunity in front of us has never been more significant. Focused again on artificial intelligence platform, or AIP, which allows large language models to operate within the confines of the enterprise and privately held data. And this was announced less than 3 months ago. Now, what's really interesting about that, this is the Forrester wave for AI and machine learning platforms, Q3 of 2022. So this was done before the announcement of AIP. And you can see Q3 2022, Palantir up here as a leader. You also have C3 AI, Data Robot. You see IBM in here. So there was a short report not too long ago from the Bear Cave saying that Palantir is not a legitimate AI company, but Forrester Wave was telling you Q3 of 2022 that it was, and that was before the announcement of AIP. This is a nice chart here showing you improvements in the financials. So going from negative to positive. We earned an operating profit in the second quarter in a row, with our income from operations growing to $10 million. In addition, our cash from operations reached $90 million, marking our 10th consecutive quarter of positive cash flow. We had $3.1 billion in cash and cash equivalents in the bank as of June 30th, 2023. That is significant. And you can see the ramp up in cash and cash equivalents and treasuries. Talking again about AIP, as a result, the demand for AIP is unlike anything we have seen in the past 20 years. We are currently in discussions with more than 300 additional enterprises to deploy AIP within their organizations, all of which are searching for an effective and secure means of adapting the latest large language models for use on their internal systems and proprietary data. And this is really big right here. So we expect to remain profitable on both a quarterly and annual basis this year. And as a result, saying that they're going to be eligible for inclusion in the S&P 500 after they report their financial results for Q3 2023, which is going to be in early November. And Karp is saying here at that point, they'll be profitable on a cumulative basis over the preceding 4 quarters. So the stock has gone from down about 12% at its lowest point. Now it's actually up 1.78% in post-market at $18.31. Now that 52-week low, 584, was on January 24th of this year. And the 52-week high just happened on August 1st, 2023. We said on a previous video that the stock was going to go to $20. It would probably see some resistance there. It did exactly that, and it pulled back. So of course, Palantir is not a cheap stock. Right now, price to sales is a 19.16. The PE for next year's estimate, according to Fidelity, is 71.7. This year's estimate, 85.4. So this is Palantir's price to sales ratio going all the way back to the direct listing. This wasn't an IPO, it was a direct listing at the end of 2020. And you can see it was closer to around maybe a 10 then. It popped all the way up here, 40 or so. It came all the way back down. This is the lowest that we've seen. It was pretty inexpensive last year. I'll look at a chart here in a second and show you. And then right now it's traded at about a 19 price to sales. So this is not the cheapest the stock's ever been. It's also not the most expensive the stock's ever been, but you could argue it was way ahead of itself here in 2021. So next we're going to look at a chart. I'm going to show you where I think the stock could go, and I'm going to tell you if I think the stock is a buy or not at these levels. Also provide some real talk commentary. Before I do that, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Click that bell for notifications. We're trying to get this channel over 50,000 subscribers. You can help me out by subscribing today. And if this video is helpful, drop me a like and drop me a comment. I'm getting this video out right after earnings as fast as I can, trying to give you an update in real time. And I need to announce this video is sponsored by The Motley Fool. If you'd like to see the 10 best stocks to buy now, visit fool.com/firedupwealth. And if you want to join our private community, Patreon Discord, visit patreon.com/firedupwealth. Okay, so the RSI is neutral right now at about a 55.91. Of course, again, that goes from 0 to 100. Anytime it's 30 or less, oversold, 70 or higher, overbought. Every single Wednesday, we do what's called chart day in Patreon Discord. When you see orange, that's a previous chart day. Yellow is going to be today's chart day, and I did provide some commentary in yellow here for you today. Now, before I show you today's commentary, let's look at some previous commentary. So recently here, we said we nailed this. R3 next, it'll hit $20 and see resistance. Careful chasing, earnings August 7th. There you go. And I was also saying, why is anybody buying this at $20? It was $6 and $7 for 12 months. Just be careful chasing. And you can see back here, really like this below $6. We said under 6 is the opportunity. In my opinion, under $6, pound the table. And you can see this stock was down here in May of 2022. It was $6.40. And it traded literally in a range sideways for a year. You can see the highest was $11.62 and $10.31, but most of this was between $6 and $9. And this goes from May of 2022 all the way to May of 2023. It was only $7.28. So you had lots of time to accumulate shares on the stock. And of course, it ripped from $7.28 up to $17, had a little bit of a pullback. Then it got to $20 here. This is the R1. These are Fibonacci pivot points, and it pulled back. And now you're having, really a battle between the bears and the bulls here after hours. So before I share my price targets and where I think it could go on the upside and the downside, I really just want to provide some commentary just overall about this stock. I'm bullish on Palantir. I like this as a long-term investment. I understand that retail investors, individual investors, we get very excited about this name. It's very polarizing, and it's kind of a love-hate type of a stock, and it's really a cult stock. Let's just call a spade a spade. Now, I do like the stock. We covered this, the first YouTube channel to cover Palantir 6 months before it went public. Been very bullish on this, under $9, again in the $6 range, pound the table type of a buy. So the question you have, is it still a buy now if you haven't bought it already? You do have to understand that this company has been around since 2003. And all that's really doing is showing you that this company has been around for 20 years. The stock's only been around since the end of 2020, but the company is 20 years old. And so it is positive that it's getting to profitability. It could go in the S&P 500. That can make the stock go much higher. And anytime you have momentum, names can go higher and higher and higher. More people pile in. It's really about supply and demand. The more people that want to buy the stock, the higher the stock, of course, is going to go. So earlier we looked at price to sales. We looked at forward PE. With SaaS companies, software as a service, you have recurring revenue. And oftentimes you look at other metrics. One of those metrics we look at is EV NTM revenue. So looking at my list here on my phone, Palantir right now, there's only there's only 4 stocks that trade at a higher valuation than Palantir. Palantir is number 5 out of all the cloud SaaS names that I follow. So this is trading at about a 16.9x on that EV NTM revenue. For comparison, Snowflake is 21.2, MongoDB is at 18.7x, Cloudflare 18.1x, and Datadog is a 17x. Now looking at free cash flow percentage, before this quarter, I have to run some numbers here, but before the quarter is at 17%. Snowflake is at 27%, MongoDB is only 2%, Cloudflare Cloudflare 4%, Datadog 19%. So decent numbers there. But then the rule of 40, Palantir was a 35%. Snowflake is sitting at 74%, MongoDB at 31%, Cloudflare at 40%, and Datadog at 52%. So Palantir doesn't actually have stellar growth. If you look at that rule of 40, you want to have it 40 or higher, and it's sitting under that 40 number. And one thing to note, out of those top 5 stocks, Palantir has the lowest net dollar retention at 115%. The other ones range really from 117% up to 151% for Snowflake. So I like the stock, but the reality is it's not a cheap stock. It doesn't mean it can't go higher, because when you have momentum, you got people pile in, stock can certainly go higher. So let's look at a chart. I'll give you my final thoughts of where this stock might go. Okay, so this R3 is up here at 23.53. Right now, post-market, it's slightly green at $18.05. It has $17.10 support. If it holds 17, the upside's probably between $20 and $23 up between these R1s and R3s up here. If it breaks $17.10, you could see 16.10 all the way down to 13.56. That 13.56 is that previous bottom. It'd be a double bottom on this red line. And I'm not saying that's happening for sure. Those are just possibilities. So downside, you're really looking at 13.56, upside 23.53. If the overall market sells off, stocks like Palantir could roll over very easily, so you have to be careful. But right now, the momentum seems to be fairly positive with earnings. There's some digestion. Anytime you have an earnings report like this, we're going to have an earnings call here in a second. That could make the stock pop higher or drop. You have to be careful with that. If you're investing in something like Palantir, you have to have a very long-term mindset. It's something you're probably holding for 3, 4, 5 or more years as a long-term investor. But understand, it's not a cheap stock, and the growth isn't stellar for the valuation. In the end, do what's best for your money. Thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate your time and attention. Make sure you subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.